And welcome everybody. Two drunk dudes in a gun room, man. We've got a full chat room today, man. A whole bunch of events going on, whole bunch of organizations out here. So let's go ahead and get into it. We'll start with you, Jesse. Go ahead and tell a little bit about yourself and how your organization came about, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, my name is Jesse Cunningham. I am the vice president of Wheels for Warriors USA. We're a 501c3 veteran nonprofit, and we give 100% free motorcycles to veterans as part of a mentorship program to bring veterans back into the fold, get them involved in veteran-related activities, give them camaraderie, support, sense of service, and just give an outlet for veterans to clear their head and get on two wheels and have something to enjoy.
That's awesome, man. So how did this organization come about?
So our president, Craig Tupin, he is a former president of the Victory Motorcycle Riding Group, and somebody reached out to him in 2015 and asked if they could or if he would actually help them find a bike to give to a veteran, just something nice to do. So excuse me, he made a couple phone calls. Somebody donated a motorcycle, and they presented the bike to a veteran that year. They decided that they wanted to do this every year. Here we are, 2023, and we've presented
Okay. Hey, let me ask Jason. Jason, are you guys tied in? Is the event that you guys hosting, are you guys part of Jesse's organization, or is this an event that they're just attending?
We're actually not a part of Wheels for Warriors. We work hand in hand with them.
Okay.
We're actually not a 501c3 yet. We're working on the paperwork right now. But Rand is Right is going to be a part of that stock this year, which is what Jesse's hosting. But we work hand in hand with Vet Stock, or with Wheels for Warriors. We work hand in hand with multiple different groups around Lincoln. Kind of.
Okay.
Vet Stock this year is going to be the hub for about 5 different events, to where everybody's converge on Vet Stock as the final destination. So. Okay.
Well, while we're talking about this, let me let you introduce yourself to everybody and how Vet Stock came about, and then we'll get with Deke. Am I pronouncing your name right, sir?
Yeah, that's correct, Deke.
Okay. Oh, then we'll get with Deke and we'll introduce him, and then that way everybody kind of has a good idea of all three of organizations and events, and then we'll get into it. All right.
Cool. I'm Jason Steiner. I founded Vet Stock last year. It actually came as I was looking for an outlet for veterans to be able to just get together. I was helping run a 501c3 out of Lincoln, the Nebraska Warrior Hockey Program. I was a founding member with that too. But being a 501c3, you never have time to just hang out. So we're always running a table. We're always chasing the buck. We're always trying to find sponsors. So I was looking for a night just to hang out. And it started out, I was looking at doing axe throwing or something like that with just our group. And my neighbor, which is a veteran, came down the street and he goes, "Hey, I got a band that might want to come in and play." I'm like, "All right, cool. Do a 30 to 50 people deal, some, fires going, drinking some beer, whatever." 2 days later, he comes down and he goes, "Hey, I got 2 bands that want to come in and play now." And I said, "Okay, well, let's make this thing something." And so I had 45 days from the day of the idea to the day of the event. I raised $7,800. My budget was about $6,200 last year. We put on 2 bands, a cornhole tournament. There was a ton of raffle prizes. It's 100% free for veterans, their families. This year we've added law enforcement, first responders, and Gold Star families. So it's kind of more of a heroes night than just a veterans night.
Okay.
But yeah, it's we hosted 100 people last year, roughly, which was pretty good for only having it up on Facebook for about 3 weeks. So we had had a pretty good showing last year. Within 5 days, I had probably 30 to 40 text calls or emails going, "Hey, dude, you're doing this again next year, right?" So we just kind of said, "Well, here we go. Let's do this thing." And so we're going to make it its own, 501c. My 5-year vision is to host over 10,000.
Wow.
That's
And I'm gonna tell you, man, as you've seen, it just when you start something like this, it just takes off.
Yeah.
It becomes its own identity, and man, it just grows just like a child does.
Yep.
And people don't realize how many people out there that want to be a part of stuff like this.
Sure.
It's just the like you said, the budgets are so small. It's hard to get the word out and get advertising going, to grow, fast like
Sure.
some companies would do. But
Yep.
I think this we're on our second year of this podcast, and I think the growth at this speed and the way you get more of a true following. The people want to be there versus some sort of hyped commercial that brought them there.
Yep.
So I think that's a lot better, man.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. Hey, Deke, let's go ahead and get into your organization and a little bit about yourself and how everything came about.
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Deke Letson, and I'm the founder and executive director of Veterans Expedition Therapy. And I spent 10 years in the Army, did a couple deployments to Iraq and all that good stuff. And well, actually, back in 2018, just to tell you a hell of a lot more than you want to know about me, I got a DUI, and I was that guy who had 2 beers, got pulled over, and cop probably could have pulled over the next 10 cars and found somebody more wasted than me, but whatever. Hey, I'm still raising my hand saying I was the one who messed up. But I ended up losing my job, and I was working in law enforcement and running the security program for the federal police in Colorado, and had to go find something else to do. So I used my GI Bill to get my degree in outdoor education and wilderness therapy. And while I was going through the program, one of the classes that they offered was a small business outdoor entrepreneurship class. And so they made you make a fake business. And so I made Veterans Expedition Therapy, and I started getting pulled aside by the instructors saying, "Hey, man, like, you should do this. Like, you've actually got something here." And at the same time, I was actually invited to the Marcus Institute for Brain Health at the University of Colorado. And these people are awesome people. And they were teaching me how to relive my life with, the injuries from the blast and stuff like that. I got one of those good old TBIs over in Iraq. And so I really kind of, just with learning all the different things that I learned there, like, you don't have to take a pill. There's other things that you can do, like getting in. Yeah, there's so many things, just like getting in the outdoors and everything like that are wonderful for you. So that's where Vet Expedition Therapy really came about. Is we're just we're not a big nonprofit with a lot of money or anything. We're just a bunch of disabled vets trying to get other vets outside in any way, shape, or form, whether it be hiking, biking, snowmobiling. We've got a survival skills trip coming up. And just ultimately to show them that there's a reason to wake up tomorrow,
Yep.
And
there's an organization here in Missouri, and they're called Mo Vets Outdoors. We did a interview with them, and they give away hunting trips and fishing trips and stuff like that to vets, and a lot of landowners and stuff like that. They'll donate their property, and they'll do a guided hunt and stuff for veterans. And it's the same thought process, and the results are amazing. A lot of people don't realize just how that one day of getting away and getting out and leaving everything behind, will allow you to go back to your lifestyle and be able to say, okay, hey, I got that break. Now I'm back in the fight. Let's fix some things and let's move forward. Plus you meet all sorts of new like-minded people that now you have a place to go and talk to people that you've met that are in those same situations. So I think there's a lot of value to outdoor activities, like versus just being doped up and staying in your house and trying to deal with everything medicated, you know. And I think I wish the VA and stuff like that would sponsor more places. You know, MoVets used to be a part of the VFW. It was actually, that's how they started, they were under the VFW organization, and the VFW finally said, you know, we don't want to do this no more. There's too much of a liability. And so they just kind of got kicked to the curb, and, you know, that's how they became a organization of their own, you know. And man, it does great stuff.
Heck yeah, absolutely. And, you know, one of the big things about us too is we're not just focusing on the veteran. We're really trying to bring families involved with everything too, because, you know, I mean, like me personally, I'd go out with other veteran organizations and you know, I'd come home and be like, hey, check out this huge fish I just caught or whatever. And then my kids would look up at me and say, great. And then they'd pull their phone back up and start staring at their phone. And it's like, no, let's get these guys out together. You know, let's get everybody healing together and make bonds with everything.
And that's another thing too, that a lot of people don't realize, you know. I think it's not uncommon. It's a lot of vets, when they come back, they don't want to talk about what they went through with their families, their kids, because they're still in that, you know, I'm protecting you from the crap that I had to go through. I did this so you don't have to. So they don't want to share that. But the part that gets left out is when they're going through their darkness and they're fighting these battles alone. And most people, you know, I'm not gonna say everybody, but most people lose this battle if you go at it alone. It makes it that much harder because now your families don't understand what you're going through. You know,
part of what we do with the Wheels Forward USA program. We actually have a built-in mentorship program that we have a veteran organization. They sponsor our veteran for a year, and they have a direct mentor within that group who's available to pick up a phone, go for a ride, you know, get them involved in some of their charity work, some of their veteran-related activities, bring them into the fold for that specific reason, because I'm 100% permanent and total disabled veteran. 70% of that's PTSD. You know, a lot of us veterans don't want to sit around in a circle of people we don't know and share stories that, you know, rehashes things that we don't want to think about or just don't really want to dwell on. So, you know, with our program, you know, when these veterans come, it's, you know, a sense of being around people who understand that you don't necessarily have to talk about what it is that's bothering you, but just have somebody there that says, I get it. I'm here. We're together and we're going to get through this.
And like you just said, it doesn't matter what you're talking about, you know, and that just recently, you know, happened with us. You know, we're talking to a guy and we really didn't talk about anything, you know, strict military related, but at the end of it, it was, hey, you know, I appreciate you helping me take my mind just off of this. He just needed a break for that moment. And that's a big factor. When we was talking earlier, we lost you, and that's why I kind of moved to Jason until you could get back on.
Yes.
Go ahead and tell people a little bit about how your organization started. I think that's kind of where you started fading out at.
Yep. So I'm also the former chapter commander of the Combat Vets Motorcycle Association. This actually started with another chapter of the Combat Vets Motorcycle Association out of Nevada. They reached out to Craig Tupin, who is our president, and said, can you help us find a motorcycle? So Craig made a couple phone calls, had a motorcycle. They presented it to a veteran, said that we want to do this again next year. And then, you know, from 2015 till now, we just presented our 35th motorcycle in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And we have 8 more bikes scheduled for this year. One of those bikes is going to be at the Veteran Memorial Game at Memorial Stadium here in Nebraska during the Nebraska football game. We're going to present a bike with the Huskers this year. So that's going to be a good one. So, yeah, Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, as I say, we've had a lot of fun doing this. Last year we partnered with a group and with the Buffalo Chip from Sturgis, and raffled off a bike on stage with the Buffalo Chip, and we'll be back with the Buffalo Chip this year as one of their charities. So yeah,
That's
a lot of
that
fun.
is awesome. So how does your guys' program work? Does an outside organization come in and say, hey, we want to sponsor a bike? And then do they also provide the mentor as well, or is that somebody within your guys' organization?
So when this first started, we actually had an application where a veteran could get online, fill out an application that we could review. We put it online, and like in the first week we had like 1,200 applications, and we're like, okay, this isn't going to work. We got to figure out another way to do this. So we started talking to local groups, local motorcycle groups and stuff, and asking them like, hey, do you guys know a veteran that would benefit from being a part of your group, a part of being, around veterans and also riding a motorcycle? There's college studies now that show that, wind therapy or motorcycle therapy is actual therapy. It does release endorphins and, provides, therapeutic qualities and stuff. So we ask these groups, do you know of a veteran? Well, every group that we've ever spoke with automatically has like 1 or 2 or 3 people in mind. So that's how we've kind of gone, about it. That's not to say that, we've also come across veterans who they don't have a group. They, maybe they're, just got out of the military and don't have a lot of family, and they're in a different state, they don't have anything to connect to. We can help them find a group, and we want to make sure that the group and the individual are a good match, but, we can go about it that way where we can help a veteran get partnered with a group. But it's usually the other way around where we speak to groups, or, groups will contact us and say, hey, heard about your program. Can you tell us more? We'll, do a, presentation at a meeting for them, or, explain, the ins and outs of how our program works and, stuff like that. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's another organization. She deals with strictly for female veterans with PTSD and TBI, and they do they go to a stable and they do a little ride on horses, and I think that's similar to the same reason. Some of these people never been on horses. It creates the endorphins, the excitement of something new, and it takes their mind away from the stuff that's no longer there. They don't have no cell phones, no nothing. It's just a group of female veterans that have got together and are doing a event that is new to a lot of them. So I think that's a big part of it. Just like you said, people that either used to love to ride or just became riders. And again, it's something new. It allows their mind to focus on the task at hand versus thinking about the stuff that's going on. So I agree. Yep. And I love the mentorship part, because, that's a big part of it. If I could pick a thing that I would love to see our podcast grow into, it's to help homeless veterans. I would love to come up with a way to create a program that puts a homeless veteran in a home and provides underlining care as far as, whatever the reason was that they became homeless in the first place, whether it be PTSD or just, some other sort of mental illness, and help them get back in the workforce and move forward. And it's a huge task, but that's kind of, my vision down the road of where I would like to grow to. So yeah, absolutely. I do get it, man. How long did you say your guys' organization's been around?
So it was initially started with the first presentation was in 2015.
Okay.
And then 2016 is when we became a 501c3. And then, since then we've done 35 and another 8 for this year. So,
okay. Yeah. So how are you guys, what are you guys doing with vet stock this year? Are you guys providing the ride, or what is it how are you guys tied in with vet stock?
So I've just over the years, I've done a lot of different things. Like I said, I was the chapter commander with the combat vets. I'm the vice president.
I seen a gun there for a minute. He's living up to the gun room part.
Right.
Jason, maybe you can answer. I'm sure he'll be back on here in a second. How are they tying in with vet stock?
So Randa's ride, they had a younger girl that caught wind of their charity, realized how cool it was. And they started this Randa's ride. It's going to be 1,000-mile iron butt from starting in Lincoln, go down to Moyer, Oklahoma, to Adams Sandoval's K River campground. They'll do the turnaround there, and then their final destination is vet stock.
Okay.
And they're hoping to pick up riders as they go south and bring them back north, so that they can bring in more riders for vet stock and
Okay.
raise awareness for veteran suicide and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of how they tie into it. Me and Jesse, we've worked together. Like, I coached his daughter in softball before we knew each other at all, really.
Okay.
Later on, I was working the other nonprofit. We ran into each other at an event, and I'm like, I know you, but I'm not sure where we're from, because this was 5 years later.
Mhm.
And we everything kind of clicked, and so we become friends. He's actually going to be part of my board once we get the 501c done. And then we will work hand in hand with Wheels for Warriors for whatever they need too.
Okay.
That type of deal. So
Sorry about that, guys.
That's all right.
I'm one-armed chicken wing right now. I had shoulder surgery last Friday, so I had my phone propped up and it failed on me. So
Okay.
yeah, so I'll let the cat out of the bag. We had talked with Jason too, something else we're gonna do at vet stock, but we're gonna give away a bike at vet stock as well. So that's gonna be
awesome.
one that everybody's gonna want to see. So
That
we'll
is
make it
awesome.
official, Jason. We're gonna do it.
sweet. Sweet.
Awesome.
And if
So-
you've never seen one of their presentations, they do it top notch. Like, the presentation that I saw, I was standing 100 feet away. Man, the dust was blowing that day, even though there was no wind. Had a few tears coming out. It's very touching to watch one of the presentations that Jesse and Craig put on. And it's a super emotional deal to see the person get the bike,
Yeah.
because they don't know going into it that they're getting the bike.
Oh, wow.
So it's like a very emotional deal to watch,
Yeah.
and have them realize that, hey, I mean something to somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And getting that feeling of the camaraderie back, the brotherhood, that kind of stuff. So it's a very cool, if you ever get to see one of their presentations, it's like super cool.
That is awesome, man. Yeah. I think so. Last year we went to Vetapalooza with Mo Vets, and when I found out about vet stock, I plan on trying to attend.
Cool.
But normally what we try to do is when we go to these events, we try to go live from up there and just help spread the word. A lot
Sure.
of our followers are all over the place, so a lot of them can't make it to stuff like that, but
Right.
just the awareness and getting people talking about it helps. So I'm actually was raised in Lincoln, so
Right on.
it's going to be a little bit of an opportunity for me to come back and visit home, and I'd like to go maybe even see my dad's grave. So I think I'm gonna make that trip up there. I don't know if Doug is going to be able to make this one or not. And I know Vetapalooza is usually around 9/11 weekend, so we're going to try to make it to both. But I'm 90% sure that I will be there for y'all's event.
Awesome.
This year, so I
Well,
can't wait.
If you want to come back and cheer on your Huskers, you can come up and watch us present that bike at the Huskers.
Okay. All
I
right.
was wondering if I was sitting in a room full of Husker fans. I'm
Well-
from Colorado, so I'm born and raised a CU Buffs fan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
Hey,
Yeah.
congratulations on Dion.
Oh man, we're so stoked about that. We've been so horrible for so long, so it's just something to cheer
Ditto.
about.
Ditto.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
So,
one of the things with vet stock too is we give veteran nonprofits a chance to get up and basically display what they are.
okay.
I got out 23 years ago. When I got out, I knew of the VFW and I knew of the Legion. I couldn't join
Yep.
the VFW. I was 96 to 2000 in the Marine Corps. I got
Mhm.
lucky. I never had to see the stuff. I never had to go over there. Um, Went into the Legion. A grumpy old man yells at me because I didn't fight in a war. And I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. I want
Yeah.
nothing to do with, so I kind of pushed away from veteran stuff. 2019, we started the Nebraska Warriors. And as we got into that, I started seeing all these different veteran groups. And I'm like, I had no idea. I mean, I'd been
Yeah.
out 23 years, had no clue there was this many different organizations, whether it be Wheels for Warriors, the combat warriors that do hunting and fishing trips. The big ones,
Right.
the national type stuff.
Right. Wounded
Um,
Warrior, Tunnel for Towers.
yeah,
Yeah. The
exactly.
ones that have the budget to hire the celebrities and everything else. Yeah.
Exactly. So this is a way for local nonprofits to be able to get up. And I think we had 10 last year or something like that at the first year. And
Yep.
everybody got up. Hey, I'm so and so. This is my organization. This is kind of our mission statement. If you got questions, come find me.
Yeah.
And as the night went on, there was a kid that was kind of milling around and kind of milling by himself. And so I went up and introduced myself, and he came back with his name, and that was all he had to say. And I was like, this kid needs to be watched a little bit. Well, a little bit later, I see him talking to a group of Marines, so I kind of jump into the conversation, and come to find out he had severe PTSD, severe anxiety, like the whole 9 yards. For him to even be there was amazing.
Yeah.
And the one thing that he said was, I had no idea there was this many veterans organizations. And I'm like, dude, you're seeing the tip of the iceberg. I mean,
Yep.
this is just a minute amount of what there is out there.
Yep.
And I think
That's
to be able
what's
to
unique about our program, because we do, we're based out of Lincoln, Nebraska. Our board of 6 people all live right here in, Nebraska. But we work with veteran organizations all over the United States, VFW, Marine Corps League, combat vets, whoever. We have contacts with all these different groups. So we're building a base of veteran organizations who all work together, who, have been a part of our programs, where, we get a veteran from an area, we can say, hey, you can speak to this group, reach out to this group, because, we've done programs with them, things like that. So, yeah, I think just the more we grow, the bigger connections we're going to make with all the different veteran organizations like that.
Well,
Yep,
and
absolutely.
there's so much to say about that too, because like I run into people all the time who, I'm never going to get this guy up rock climbing or something like that. But this guy's really into riding bikes,
Yep.
and we don't do that. But I just met a group of people who do.
Right.
Yep. That's how the veteran network works.
Yeah.
And there's good and bad when it comes to, all the different organizations that are out there. There's, some for-profit type stuff, and, I think the grassroots veteran groups, like Jason and Wheels for Warriors and, like yours, doing types of things like this and making these types of connections is what's important, knowing which, groups are actually out there doing things for veterans versus doing the celebrity appearance type stuff.
Yep. And that's originally where we started at. It's literally just me and Doug that work on this. And so, when we started this, we just wanted to be a centrally located place for people to find out about other organizations, and we just recently started increasing size, and I'm working on an app that is going to get released to allow people to be able to go straight to the videos, straight to the resources, and be able to, chat directly with either me or Doug, so it's growing as well, but where it goes is where it goes. We just kind of let it take its course, and we just we're just thankful to be a part of it, you know.
Sure.
And we're not a company, we're not a 501c. We don't, you know, I don't really go out there, you know, pounding the ground looking for donations. You know, everything that we do, me and Doug pretty much pay out of our pocket. We do a few charity or a few fundraisers. Like last year, we did a competition shoot. We did 4 different events where it was a center fire, a rim fire, and then we had a 22 qualification. And then we had, you know, because it's mostly civilians that never been in the military that support it. And then we did a military qual. We made them qualify the way we did in the Army. And we had a great time. You know, the winner got 50% of whatever the entrance fees was. The rest of it we donated to Tunnel for Towers. You know, and that's what we started doing. And this year, you know, we try to put a few events together. We're part of a I don't know if any of you guys have ever gone gigging, fish gigging, but there's an organization here every year. They take veterans out all free of cost, and we go fish gigging for the night, you know. And man, we just have a great time. And the people down there, the city gets behind them. People donate Airbnbs for them to stay in. The Rough Gigging Association, they donate the boats, the fuel. They clean the fish when they're all done. I mean, the next morning, the restaurants provide breakfast for the veterans, and it's just a great time. You know, it's not about, you know, a competition of which organizations are better. We're not out trying to grow and make money and everything else. It's just about trying to get veterans located into organizations like yourself that they didn't even know about. And
Sure.
and that's where we came about.
Yep. Well, and I think one of the big things that we as nonprofits, I hope that we can accomplish is to have these corporate sponsors, have these bigger companies realize that what we're doing is really great work.
Yeah.
And supporting the veterans and like with Vetstock, it's the Leo, the first responders, Gold Star families, that like with my organization, we take no money out.
Yep.
Every dime that comes in goes into the organization, either this year's event or it rolls over into next year's event.
Right.
And as I was saying, you know, telling you before, if we host 10,000 people, you know, we're looking at grabbing somebody like Toby Keith, or, you know, we're looking at a big artist to come in, Five Finger Death Punch, you know, somebody like that comes in and says, hey, I want to perform for you guys. Obviously they're not going to be free, you know, so our budget has to grow every year in order to, you know, continue this thing to grow.
Right.
And it's the same with everybody, you know, the VET, the Wheels for Warriors, whatever.
Yeah.
But with Vetstock this year, I did kind of want to throw this out too. We've actually paired with Ruck It Up for Warriors, which is a new 501c3 out of Lincoln. He's going to do a ruck march, I believe, from the Ashland Air or the base out to Vetstock as a final destination.
Oh, wow.
The Irreverent Warriors, which is a national group, their Nebraska chapter is going to do a silky hike that's going to land at Vetstock. And the Nebraska Warriors, I was talking with them. It sounds like they're going to try to do a round robin tournament with the Kansas City Warriors and the Oklahoma City Warriors, and then all of them come out to Vetstock. So we're looking at like 4 or 5 deals that are all combining to, you know, converge on Vetstock. So it could end up being, you know, a pretty big event this year. I say 1,000. Jesse laughs at me. He says 2,500. So, you know, we'll see what actually shows up. But it's, you know, at the end of the day, it's about getting together, and same deal where you can have that one day to just shut down. You don't have to relive the demons. You don't have to deal with the BS that's in the world. You can hang out with like-minded people, enjoy some music, throw some bags, drink some beer, and eat some good food from the food trucks. And
grow your lifeline with people afterwards, you know. Grab people's contact information, their Facebook accounts, whatever. And it just gives you more people to associate with.
Yep, for sure.
Hey, Deke, a little bit about your organization. Do you guys got any upcoming events? I know I seen something about was it snowmobiles or something that's coming up?
Yeah, we're doing a snowmobiling trip this Saturday. Unfortunately, the trip is full right now, but it's going to be a rad time. And actually, just today we posted a wilderness survival skills class, which is going to be taught by one of the local survival experts around the Colorado area here, Cattail Bob Seebeck, and yeah, it's going to be an awesome time.
That's cool. I will I'll after I get done today, I'll go on and pull that event. I'll add it to our events with a link back to your guys' website. So
Really
that
appreciate
way anybody
that.
that's in y'all's area, they at least, if nothing else, even if they can't get into that event, my thoughts is sometimes they see that you host different events, and it'll allow them to go straight to your website and keep an idea for upcoming events that do come out.
1,000,000%. We're small right now. We're honestly, we're just trying to not bite off more than we can chew. We're trying to do about one
Right.
event per month.
Yeah.
But we're growing, and like we're talking about I actually have a meeting as soon as we're done here at 3 o'clock today, to talk with Jefferson County Open Space about doing some meetup hikes.
Okay.
Just, a bi-weekly thing, where veterans can just come hike, do exactly what we've been talking about this whole conversation, meet other vets going through the same thing, get out of their mind for a day,
Yep.
get other resources. We're also talking with climbing gym just to get some nights there. Just once again, just another meetup, get people into climbing safely.
Yep.
And another thing that we try to do is we try to revert it back to your healing as well. Just self-isolation. I mean, personally, just with PTSD and everything, I think that self-isolating is one of the most dangerous things that happens with us veterans. And especially like the VA gives, they'll give you 100% disability, which is great and fantastic, and you don't have to work anymore. But then on the flip side, it doesn't give you a purpose. Like you don't have to show up to work anymore.
Right.
Now you have a reason to self-isolate and everything like that. And so we really just try to relate that back to their healing, and just try to get veterans into their challenge zone a little bit, get them pushing themselves. When you're in that comfort zone, you're not learning, you're not growing, you're just
Yep.
doing your thing, you're existing.
Yep.
But sometimes, and sometimes even just showing up to one of our events is, that's that veteran really stepping out of their comfort zone. And like, that's all we want, cool.
Yep.
Just a little bit, take a baby step today, and then maybe
Yep.
tomorrow, take another baby step, and then tomorrow take another baby step. And it's just totally that crawl, walk, run mentality. You can't just think that you're going to be fixed all of a sudden and everything.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's kind of, I think that's where it all begins. It did with me, as I was getting ready to retire. I retired in 2014, and I done right at 68 months worth of combat time in my 20-year career. And as I was retiring, I didn't realize how just that transition will kick things in that you don't want in. And probably the last, I don't know, 6 months to a year, I would get off work and come home, and I wouldn't feel comfortable sitting in my own front room. So my family's there, they were all watching TV. I would get up and go to the bedroom and just shut myself in the bedroom, where I felt better. I was alone, and it felt normal to me, for, I guess, from being deployed so much and being in situations where I was alone quite a bit. And I didn't even realize I was pushing my family away. And it just becomes one dark step after another dark step. And you just start transitioning into this area where you don't want to be. And I think that's a big starting step to that, is that self-isolation. You think you feel better, but you're actually doing more harm by locking yourself away.
1,000,000%. Absolutely.
And I think these kind of groups, vet stock, the rides, the joint rides, the outdoor activities between you and Mo Vets and stuff like that. I think that's amazing, because it breaks that cycle. And I think that's a big step towards the right direction. Whether they take that next step that day or a day later, it opens their eyes to say, hey, I don't have to stay here. I can go and be with other people, and it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's not we're going to sit on the couch and all cry and talk about bad things. We could talk about the weather or what we're doing that day or whatever, but just that fact that you're no longer by yourself and you're outside focusing on other events is tremendous.
That's it. And you're with
You hit
other
it right on the head,
veterans
too.
Oh, I'm sorry. I totally didn't mean to talk over you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you hit it right on the head about, it's, Rocco Vargas has the becoming a better veteran, the veteran group, it's changing that mindset and just changing that mental focus, give your mind something else to focus on. Whether it's outdoor activities, vet stock events, join a veteran group like Jason and come out and help. You can help do fundraising, you can get involved in those types of things. If you're into the motorcycle community, there is a veteran organization out there for absolutely everything. If there isn't one, start one.
Yep.
100%.
I completely agree. And I think a lot of people at that, don't realize that that's how the organizations start. It's a veteran that finally takes a stand and says, you know what? I enjoy these type of activities. It's helping me. Let's spread the word and see if it doesn't help other people.
Yeah. And like the Nebraska Warriors, when I became part of that, as I said, I'd kind of push back from everything veteran, just because of the Legion essentially is what kind of pushed me away from it at that time. But when we started that, like a lot of the guys that we had they're combat veterans, PTSD, the whole 9 yards. And I can't truly relate to that because I didn't have to see it.
Right.
But these guys, they'd talk to me, but they wouldn't talk to me.
Right.
I would never ask, it was just, I'm here if you need me type deal. Well, I started watching in the locker room, and they'll be sitting around and they're gearing up to go out for practice. And they'll sit down next to somebody they'd never met. Like, hey man, how you doing? I'm good. Where were you at? I was in Fallujah. Oh, when were you in Fallujah? I was there at this time to this time. Oh, dude, I was there at this time to this time. What base were you on? Yeah, and they'd start this conversation that turned into, now they've got a battle buddy.
Yep.
They've got a guy that was there at the same time. They saw the same crap. They lived in the same pooches, the whole 9 yards, and they can relate to that person, or that person can relate to them, where, like you said before, you don't want to bring it home and talk to your family about it, because guess what? I did this so you didn't have to.
Right.
And your family couldn't relate to what happened to you over there, or what you saw over there. But guess what? Now I've got this dude sitting right next to me that I just met, and he can relate to everything I'm talking about, and gives them that opportunity to have somebody there for them. And if you want to talk about it, they'll talk about it. If they don't, they ain't going to. But gives them that opportunity, at least, where if they weren't in this locker room, or if they weren't, out hiking with vet or riding motorcycles with Wheels for Warriors, they don't have that person. And that's from the self-isolation, and because you don't have somebody that can relate to what you saw, and so you self-isolate, because that's the easier thing to do than to try to go out and find somebody to talk to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think along with that, a lot of people don't understand that. I think veterans, when they transition away from this, whether you retired or you ETS'd or medically you got put out, it doesn't matter. I think everybody starts in the negative because their first experience is the VA. And if you live in a big city around a big VA, I don't care where it is in the United States, you just become a number. There's too many people, they're overwhelmed. They don't have the time to take that personal care that a VA in a small town that has a small clinic, can, where they see you shopping and they know you walking around the city or the town, and I think that's why literally like 80% to 20%, 80% of the people that their first experience with the VA is horrible. And after that, they shut themselves out and they believe this is the help that's out there. I don't want no part of it. And they forget that there is smaller organizations out there that are more personal and more meaningful, whether they just don't know about it or they quit looking. But it's hard because you have to reach these veterans and say, hey, not everything is like that. Not everything is full of red tape.
Right.
Well, and you're so right too. And I mean, I can only speak from my personal experience, but I live in Denver, Colorado, with a big, massive VA system. And, one thing that I can't stand is it seems like your healthcare can just be swept out from under you.
Yep.
With a stroke of a pen in Washington, D.C. Like specifically when I was going through them to get mental health care, they were giving you hour-long sessions. Well, then all of a sudden they cut those hour-long sessions down to a half hour. And then, you'd go in, tell them about how your week was going. That'd take 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, whatever. And then they'd really want you talking about some stuff that you really don't want to talk about. And as soon as that 30 minutes is up, it's bam. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. And, and you're literally just walking out of that place, just raging, like your mind is just completely closing in around from you. And I mean, it just did more worse than good. And really the only thing that the VA did by doing that is they were able to double their numbers because now they're able to bring another, they just cut your appointment time down in half so they can double their appointments right there. And it looks good on paper, but really they just made everything worse.
Well, it increases their budget as well because they got more people coming through the door. And I hate that philosophy, not that I hate the VA, but I do hate that philosophy that your budget is based off of how many people you can get coming through the door, because that's exactly what happens now is the veteran is no longer the patient. He's the product. You are the product that I'm putting in my shelves to get the customer, and the customer is the federal government that's going to give me more of a bigger budget next year, and it maybe they create a great program with that extra budget, but maybe it's just a flop that doesn't help veterans that they don't like. And that was one of the things that I didn't like about the way that system is set up. I am lucky. I'm not talking trash just about the VA. The VA that I go to here in St. James, Missouri is amazing, but it's a very small little clinic. The people are extremely friendly. I didn't really care for the way the therapy counseling classes were. And I walked away from that, but everything else that they've done for me has been top notch, so I just feel like I was lucky, and I'm in that 20% that had a good experience, to where the 80% is still out there being lost. And those are the ones that we have to reach.
Well, that's exactly what a nonprofit organization does, is it picks up the pieces in the community where there's a gap. It fills the hole in the community where there's a gap.
Yep. I completely agree.
Yeah. I heard somebody make a comment about the VA, about it being the only healthcare system where you have to prove your ailment or whatever to the doctor for them to actually see you for whatever it is you're going in there to see them for. Right. And, I'm going to speak from my own personal experience. I've had 5 surgeries done I just had one done on my shoulder. I had 4 done on my right arm about a year and a half ago. And the VA misdiagnosed every single surgery and said that I was fine and sent me away when I wasn't. I had to go back for second opinions. I know it's different everywhere, because I know that, I talk to people and they're like, man, my VA is amazing. And, I'm not going to speak for every veteran, and, I'm just speaking from my own personal experience, but It is difficult. And you're right. A lot of veterans just get tired of going to the VA. You can misspeak and say that, I'm having, thoughts of not hurting myself, but like, I'm scared, or, I don't know how to control my emotions. You run the risk of getting locked up, that compounds things. That makes things worse for veterans. There's a lot of the, you're kind of speaking about, getting out and retiring from the military. A lot of the the stuff that we've seen or been through, doesn't really affect us until, 10 years down the road when
Right.
you can't control your emotions and you can't figure out, what's going on in my head. It's normal. Some of my greatest mentors were Vietnam veterans. When I was having issues, they're like, this is normal. They went through the same stuff, different war, same symptoms.
Right. Yeah,
Dude,
I completely agree. And you are absolutely right. I never noticed, well, I didn't notice that I really even had a problem, but my symptoms started when my deployments ended. My last year where I was getting ready to retire, I was supposed to deploy. I had, I don't know, 7-8 months left in the military, and they were going to deploy me. And at that point, I really didn't want to go. I was so close to retirement. I was trying to find a job. The stress levels of just transitioning goes through the roof. My kids were at that difficult age where there was stress at home because they were in that mid-teenage area where I'm on my own, and I wasn't ready for that. And so all that stress comes about. And then the last minute, I mean, my bags are packed and in a container ready to go. And we had to break the seal because the numbers got cut again. And at that point, I didn't have to go anymore. So all that gear up, prep up to go deploy that you go through mentally, that a lot of veterans don't even know they go through, up to the point where you're getting on the bus to go to the plane and take off, went away. And I lost my feeling for what I was being a part of. I'm no longer needed for deployments, which is all I've done for the last 10 years, and so then I start focusing on trying to find a job, but that becomes difficult. My relationships at home was going to shit. My temper was going crazy. I didn't file for a VA claim until 3 years after I got out of the military, all over one conversation with a VA rep, and I was in the wrong, but it was the same situation where all I did was I walked up and I asked the guy. He had no customers. It was early in the morning. I was out processing. All I wanted to know was what paperwork I needed to bring when I set my appointment up to go down. And the first thing he looked at me and said was, "Do you have an appointment?" And I said, "No, I just have a question." He said, "Well, today's not a walk-in day." And he turned around and walked off. And it set me off. I looked at him and I said, "Listen here, motherfucker, I don't even need your fucking money." And I never filed a claim. And that was my first thoughts on the VA. And I didn't realize that, my temper was going from 0 to 60. And I just kept spiraling down until, years, 3-4 years out of the military before things got so bad in my life that I was forced to go reach for help. And I didn't go to the VA then either. And I think that was the right move for me. I went to a civilian doctor, and then I started learning what was going on, So yeah, absolutely, man. It's hard because after they have that experience, now as Deke said, we're trying to pick up the pieces that are left behind, but you have to prove to this person, because they're not going to trust you after what they just went through with the VA.
Well, Doug, I commend you because you took a step that is the hardest step for veterans to take. And that is just to go talk to somebody, because, it's that whole stigma of there's something wrong with me, but it's beyond that. It's about staying in the fight. The easy thing is to, just lay down, take cover, but get in the fight, take control of your mental health. We all deal with stuff, you need the tools to know how to deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I always tell people there's only one wrong thing. Well, only two wrong things that you can do is, just push it down deep inside and never talk about it, and then use substances to cope. Like, those are the two wrong things that you can do. But you guys are so right about everything. And Jesse, I think you nailed it on the head a little while back too. Some of these thoughts, you said, you're worried about being locked up for talking to somebody or whatever. And I think that stops a lot of people from talking too.
It does.
You're worried that your guns are going to be taken away. You're worried that they're going to call the cops on you. You're worried about so many things. And I think that that's why so many people don't talk about it. They're worried about the repercussions, but
Yeah.
by holding it inside, you're only making things so much worse. And us as veterans, we're all tough. We all think we can do it alone when we can't.
Right. And I think you get a little bit of that from the military because, everybody's afraid if they do go talk to somebody, they're going to become non-deployable. The chain of command, let's be realistic. Everybody can say all day long in the military, you have to be stronger to talk than not to talk. But I've experienced from firsthand, that moment you do say you have a problem and you're not usable to that command anymore, you get treated different. And I think that's another reason why people don't want to go talk, even when they get out, is because now that's what's in their mind is I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my gun rights. I'm going to lose everything because I did tell everybody I'm weak and I can't handle it,
Well, anybody who's been across the pond knows that when you come back and you go through demob, you go through the checklist. Like, you got to get the mental health, you got to get the physicals, you got to get all this other stuff. And if you answer on any of those questions that you're, something's bothering you or something's not right, you're going to be a medical holdover. They're going to hold you on that base. You're not going to go see your family. So everybody says, nope, I'm fine. I'm fine. They get the check in the box just so they could get their butt home.
Especially after you just spent 15 months over there.
Yeah. And they just spent, yeah.
Yep.
My first deployment, I was 18 months in country in the Anbar province. So when I came home and they're asking me questions, you couldn't fill out that paperwork fast enough. Everything was a no.
Amen.
Yep. And I did the same thing, and again, it's not even that. It really felt like they're holding your family as the hostage or the carrot, because they don't want you to say the truth, because now you're not usable to the command until you're fixed, if you're fixed, and I seen them do that, because by the time I was getting out my higher rank, I started seeing the guy behind the curtain, and they would intentionally, well, if you put yes to any of that stuff, well, that's fine, but you don't get to talk to anybody to start the process to be able to go home until the whole demob is done. So you sit there all day long, and then the doctor will sit down and talk to you, or the counselor will sit down and talk to you after he's gone through the check sheets with everybody else. So now your day just got extended probably 3 or 4 more hours than it would have to begin with. And depending on what that conversation goes, you still may not get to go see your family. You may get put in the barracks.
Yep.
So yeah, I agree. Hey, guys, I appreciate, we used to try to keep these around close to 45 minutes or so. But I appreciate, let's go through with each person and allow you guys to throw a little plug out there, how people can find you and stuff like that. Deke, let's go and start with you. Go and tell everybody a little bit, how they can find you and anything else that you want to add.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys can find us on our website at vetexpeditiontherapy.org. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Please share our page. If you know anybody, we don't like taking money from veterans, but if you know anybody who'd like to donate or whatever, please send them our way. We're, just like all these other gentlemen have said, nobody in our organization takes a salary either. Everything goes to our programming and to our vets and everything. So, and then I just really wanted to give you a big thank you for allowing us to be on today.
No problem, man. I'm glad. It's my honor to have you all on, man.
Heck yeah.
Jason, go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about where they can find your event.
So right now, since we're spinning up the 501c, we do not have a website yet. We're just on Facebook. It's Vetstock 2023. You can click on there. It'll tell you about the event, when it is, where it is, and some of the stuff that's going on that day. Once we have an official website up, we'll get a official Facebook page up for Vet Stock. Hopefully to upgrade our logo, since right now our logo is this beautiful face right here. Hopefully we can get something up soon. Yeah, same deal. Really appreciate you having us on.
No problem.
Just looking to grow vet stock every year and help as many veterans as we can.
No problem. Hey, if I don't know if you guys have somebody that's building your website or whatever. If you need somebody to do it, let me know. I've built several websites. I run ours. So if you want somebody to build your website, just hit me up, man. I'll do it.
Sweet.
That's exactly what we're looking for right now. That's awesome.
Okay.
That you said that.
Yeah. Just shoot me a Facebook message or whatever. Kind of give me an idea of what you guys are looking for, and I'll build it for you guys. That's no problem, man.
Right on.
Awesome.
All right. Just go ahead and tell a little bit about how they can reach you. One thing I do want to ask, do you guys have a application process for the motorcycle rides and stuff like that, or for the motorcycle events? Is that something that you're looking to put on the website as well?
Yeah, we will have links for Randa's ride for the ride for Vet Stock. We'll have all that up here shortly. We're just in the process of working all that stuff right now.
Okay.
But Wheels for Warriors USA, you can find us at WUSA.org. We're on all the social medias. I tell everybody the greatest thing you can do for us, if you want to help us, is word of mouth. If you know of somebody who has a motorcycle, we drive all over the country and pick these up and bring them back and make them brand new for our veterans. If donations of motorcycles, or if you know a veteran that can benefit from our program, get in contact with us. Or if you're a group who would like to sponsor a veteran, get in contact with us, and we can talk about how we do our programs. So,
okay. Awesome, man. Hey, I appreciate all you guys coming on, and this episode, just so you guys know, will air Friday for the audio, and the video will probably be up Saturday or Sunday. I will make sure I share links with all of you guys so you can spread the podcast and help us out, as well as help get you guys' word out a little bit.
Awesome.
All right.
Hey,
I appreciate all y'all coming on, man. Y'all be safe. I will see you at Vet Stock, because I will be there. All right. Y'all take care, man. Be safe.
Awesome, Doug. Thank you, Doug.
Yep. No problem, man. Bye-bye.
See ya.